she'll sign the other ones.
Okay.
Specifically.
One in his day, some tools didn't.
Okay.
Things I could have.
Oh, you're talking about that's from the company.
But not your profession. Couple twice before, to a public.
I know which one you're talking about. You're talking about contract two, there's notes that we made. Yeah, that one. So my question is, you know what I'm saying? Because the breakdown, so like, catch that, so it's.
No, because I really do want, did you? Yeah, those last months. How are you doing? Good to see you. Because Renee reminded me he had filled that special. This is gonna be in.
And try to
Dave's
generate
gonna
what
do.
there's.
Yeah, Dave's gonna do the insurance, he was gonna call the insurance company. Or this week.
I just thought I'd grab you.
All right, perfect,
While you were
yeah,
here.
but
Renee said try to get them 45 days.
Maybe it's,
Okay.
you know, third word, fourth word, people that don't want their kids crossing certain
Yeah,
streets.
probably should.
You know, like
Yeah,
40.
just
You
fine.
want to take one away.
Yep, no, we'll do that.
Number.
Well, it is for me. You want her? Yeah. Take that, Mrs. Stoker. Down the low. And Mrs. Stoker, but her to take her kids to school, and if I was on the tar road, by my mailbox when she was going by.
Pick you up.
Yep. I was just always grateful.
Yeah.
But otherwise, and the same way with my kids. Yeah, I seen that after I'd never done.
Now that I've seen that.
Yes. It was a hard mail. They had neighborhood friends to walk with us. So it's different.
Where'd you guys cross 84 at?
My parents owned their all the units, not all of them, but nine of them, also we lived, which is still owned. It's right across the highway from Chittenden College.
Okay. So is that where you crossed over?
So it's a railroad track.
It used to, no, I wasn't arguing with them, it used to be, because they used to have the outline of the section up until what, the 90s?
Oh, yeah. The track ran right there.
Hi, Mama.
Right
Hi, honey.
back into our backyard.
congratulations.
Track
Okay.
ran right into yours.
So when I was reading your history review,
I like that blue ice.
yeah, what's
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Security badges.
Different places that would try to make,
Norman, and when I come back.
must have seen them on the early.
She's
Like, what the hell is it?
We got these.
Any room this car.
There was a real, at that century, that's where Jason. Very true.
Make an
Came
engine.
out, you have to somewhat behave yourself.
Yeah.
He's got it, yeah.
That's
All
all
in
of
his
us
own
ever
hand.
haven't been able to talk
I
about.
held on to it for years.
I think it's great now, they still down there.
Oh, see, I got told a completely different history.
No, and you'll need,
Exactly.
and you'll need that for Miles Rodeo.
Back in the 1800s. This actually,
The keys, no, for the,
Let's see, I've not heard that. It's only heard
I got some of the keys to get some to
been able to
the
with Wayne Master, who was really.
Cool.
So I got that covered. And I got some.
I had many chapters, he said he's never done.
Yeah, so
Say,
You realize that we're doing.
This is what it is. So this was a yes on our part. That's totally from
Oh, listen, I
There's a,
literally.
June 13th, Saturday after.
after the blessings.
10 to 15 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
My whole life.
They were in that one.
Once he said that, I'm going.
I always pretty good JP Snyder's actually management.
We're both.
Quite a bit. Yeah,
Interesting actual training facilities. Neighbors were asked.
together, okay.
And,
That I don't think it had.
They got fantastic.
and
You should see it.
I was like, well, this is low.
Well, the opening bike lab, we're gonna be able to have indoors in the garage.
It's a lab. I don't know what that.
We bring in as many different types
Oh, my goodness.
All order the council meeting for the city of Pullman. Roll call please, Tori.
Mayor Malone,
Here.
Alderperson Boonstra,
Here.
Burgraff, King,
Here.
Mask, here, Ratcliffe,
Here.
Sewell, Van Campen, here, Wilkin.
I join me in the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first on the agenda here, we have a presentation from Julie Miners to address the council regarding blessing of the bikes on June 7th. Julie?
Yes, June 7th. And I was just checking to make sure, because I know they were supposed to be having some street repair. So my big curiosity was, were we gonna be able to get underneath that? So do you know when that's gonna be, or will we?
We don't know yet, but even if they have started, we can make sure the equipment's off the street during that event, and then they can bring it back on Monday. But the road would still be usable during that
Yeah,
time.
because we got the bikes and stuff,
Yep.
and and I got vendors. Will we still be
Yep.
able to block it off? Do you have any idea when it might be, for sure?
Probably June 8th would be my guess.
Oh, well, it's June 7th, then we're not,
Yeah,
I'm not.
yeah.
So if they bring in the equipment beforehand,
Yep. If for some reason they would start the week before, we can make sure everything's out of there and not have any issues, so.
yeah, and if we could have the one area where we put the fire truck there off to the
Yep.
side by the pool place,
Yep.
so that we could do that. And as long as the road's not tore up with the bikes and stuff.
It would just be at that point in time, it would just be a
They're
small
just
trench
starting.
where, the water main would be at that point in time, but they may start up on the other end, so. If they do that, that won't affect you guys at all.
Okay.
Yeah,
How far on the other end? You mean? up by the-
Like right up here by the old fire station.
Okay, well, that, we usually close off from there.
Right.
Back, so, okay, that's what I would like to ask for, and then we'll just go from there. Our regular, shut off from Johnny's up to,
Yep.
okay.
So our main concern would be loose debris
Right.
on the street, make sure it's swept up.
Yeah, we would try and, do our best to make sure it's as safe for everybody to be down there as possible, but there may be a little loose gravel, we don't know quite yet when they're gonna be starting, but once we know a little more, I can touch base with you just to.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
great.
Yep.
And I'll be kind of going up and down, checking it out and
Sure,
stuff like
yep.
that. Okay. So I guess that's it. Barricades, if we can get the barricades set up like we usually do on the corners. I'll have Dave fill out this paperwork
Okay.
and get that to you this week. I talked to him on the phone the other day. So, we'll see about doing that. And I think you still have the chart. It's be the same chart that we had. Do we still need to draw that out on the streets or?
That's fine.
I don't have the chart.
Or, okay.
There's a page to
You
fill out, so you might as well just
Okay.
draw another map,
All right,
because there's
all
one
right.
in there.
Okay, cool. All right, so that's it then, from 10 until 3, if possible.
Okay.
Wishing you good weather.
I hope so.
I think what you'll find out, like, if there are any obstacles, we'll work with you.
Okay, that'd be
Okay.
very cool.
So if it-
You
if you-
guys
if
got
you
my
do the
phone, you
permit-
have my phone number if anything should come up.
Right.
Let me know in advance if I need to do anything to,
Sure.
you know.
If we need to flex on your permit, even if it's already approved, we can do that.
Okay, all right, cool.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh, fine. announcements. Tori, you didn't give me the paper, is Lisa speaking?
Yes, we have Lisa Witt from Ice Cream Shop.
Lisa? Welcome.
Okay. Very brief. So, as a local business owner, I am requesting that the city provide advance written notification of the exact dates, times, and anticipated reopening times of all upcoming road closures to all businesses being affected. These notifications would include but are not limited to special events or road construction. This information is needed to coordinate staffing needs and whether we are able to conduct business during the closure and to provide better customer service to our customers. Thank you.
Thank you. You said, I know you mentioned the construction for sure, but you also mentioned special events. So if like Dutch Days, you wanna know,
When are they closing it? When
okay,
is it gonna be reopened?
okay. Any special event downtown?
Yeah, that the road would be closed to affect our businesses.
Okay. Thank you.
And all that information is put on by when we fill out the special event application, all of that is on there.
We don't see that.
Yeah, but I mean,
And we don't get notified.
city administration has all of that.
And
It's not
you're
something-
with the ice cream shop, correct?
Yes.
And we would like to have you be part of our
Oh,
event.
Absolutely.
So if that's all right with you.
Yep.
while
Beer
we're
and ice cream
here.
go good together, don't they?
It's just for mainly, when you're talking that for staffing purposes
Yep, I
and
can
stuff, if a road closure is going to affect business, decrease business or increase business, either or, you wanna know for staffing purposes. And since this year, it's not just me, I have staff, I have to have my hours covered and also due to the fact that it's no longer just Jeff in the barber shop, it also, and they're open 6 days a week, will it affect the barber shop as well? And I believe any other business would like to have that notification in advance so they can plan ahead whether they're gonna be open, whether they're, how they want to run their business during different events.
Email blast of business owner emails or anything?
We should have the business registration.
Yeah, we have the business registration form, but we don't have anything specific. In the past, we've, like when downtown was done last year, I think it was Shane actually walked around and handed out flyers to every business.
Put a note on the door.
Or put a note on the door.
Yeah, I think that's a good request. I can see why that's important to you. Everybody, staffing, business.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Next item is the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda should be enacted by single motion and roll call vote. Any item may be removed upon request of the mayor, any alderman considered individually after all other items of business on the consent agenda. We have approve the regular meeting minutes from March 23rd, 2026 city council meeting, approve the bill list, and approve the treasurer's report dated February 28, 2026. Motion, please. Second. Thank you. Discussion on any of these?
I have a question on number 5, about 6 or 7 from the top. I don't know what a flock safety falcon is.
Page are you on?
Page 5, about 6 up from the bottom, and it's a flock safety falcon.
Yep, that's our cameras that we have throughout town. We have 5 of them.
So,
Are they new to us, Chad, or no?
They've been here for 3 years.
And where are they?
They're
Is that
stationed all over.
Oh, is that kind of secret where they are?
No, they're not secret. It's just, there's 2 of them on 84, one on 136, one on the Iowa side of the river, and then the other one down by Progress Drive.
So like catching speeding or just
License plates.
license plate?
Yep.
Okay.
so I wanna follow up on that, if I may. So this is a $2,500 charge for January.
Mhm.
I went into the accounts payable, software, and we're paying approximately 12,500 per year to have Flock.
Yep.
I don't remember who told me, this, if it was, previous chief or not, but at some point, someone, said that those cameras were free, and I'm just wondering how that could.
I was lucky enough to contact Flock and I got a $500 discount on each camera this year.
Okay,
But they will not be free. I'm considering maybe getting rid of one or two, but
do we pay by the number?
per camera, per year.
Okay. And I assume that there's another $10,000 charge coming somewhere, I don't remember the exact date.
It was already paid, Zach.
Okay. All right, and then the final question on that, we don't pay for any that are not in the city limits, correct? Like, I know that there's one on the corner of, or just as you're getting on to, 136, if you're coming off 30 from Morrison, that would technically, obviously not be within city limits.
Right, so,
Was,
If we were to
was
put it-
Whiteside County?
no, see, the reason they're stationed where they are is so we can get them as they get to town. Because when the camera will make a read, by the time we get the notification, they're not even here no more.
Okay,
So they're, more of a setup as an advanced warning.
okay,
Like, we've got recovered stolen vehicles from them, missing persons. So, like I said, had, say, for example, the one that I had that was a stolen vehicle I had at 136. Well, if that would have been at the intersection of, say, 136 and 84, by the time it would have been able to read that, I would have never been able to get there in time.
sure.
So that's why they're
On the
positioned,
highways, on the highways.
yeah, they're positioned outside.
Okay. So what's the 10,000 versus the 2,500 number?
So
You know?
I don't know if they were bought at separate times, and so that's why the agreements were signed at separate times. This was pre-me.
Okay. All right, I may have some additional questions, one off, but I was curious on that as well.
Yeah, if you wanna get with me sometime, we can go over things.
I have other questions on the bill list.
Go ahead.
I feel, let's see, the Munson's payback, can you explain the PD uniforms, it's on page 6, about, I don't know, a couple inches up from the bottom. Can you explain that charge, what that would be for?
Where am I looking at? Oh, the 1280?
Yep.
Yeah, so what that was, so when Officer Munson left, he was charged for his body armor.
Okay.
So that was sent back, the city of Morrison cut us a check back for his body armor. And then that 1280 was used to purchase Officer Bennett's body armor.
Okay.
So
So
that
I
was-
know that they're customized,
Right. So, like I said, Officer Munson got to keep his vest, the city of Morrison purchased that, so we received a check for 2080. And then that 2080 that was used here was actually for the purchase of Bennett's vest.
so, what the other question that I had on the police one was,
Police Academy,
yeah, where was that?
just above it.
Oh, yeah,
So, we pay the $7,688, and at after the completion of Bennett's Academy, I'll be submitting reimbursement to the state, and then that should be
okay, that's
reimbursed.
what I thought,
Yep.
they paid, I didn't realize that we paid and then.
Yeah, it's a reimbursement, so we paid it up front, and then, I will be, as soon as he's got his graduation, I will go ahead and, get all the paperwork done and submit for reimbursement.
Okay, and then, any further word from Morrison on reimbursement?
No,
or-
I can't find the bill that I sent him anywhere, so
Okay, should we send another bill?
we can.
Okay. Let's see. Under the MSA, this question is for Eric.
I have that one too. Yeah.
Obviously, I can see the comprehensive plan, payment in there. What's the risk and resilience assessment?
So the federal government EPA is making every water system in the United States create a risk and resiliency plan. So you have everything pretty much spelled out with how, if there's a natural disaster, what numbers are you gonna call, who are you gonna notify? And then it also does a brief assessment of your system to see where there's different things that you can improve upon to improve the resiliency, generators, your backup well situations, more or less trying to make sure we are not as redundant as possible, but crossing off as many Ts as we possibly can, and it has to be done by June of this year.
Okay, on that same note, is that the only charge, or are we gonna be getting further percentages for
I'm
that?
sure there will be furthers, I just don't know exactly when we will receive them. As the plan goes on, and there's obviously gonna be more, but I don't know when those will come in.
Okay. Next question, a couple lines down, nationwide fixture installations, install fitness equipment, 16,000. To my knowledge, we haven't had anything installed yet, so I'm wondering why we have a payment
That
invoice.
is their policy, they have to get half payment before they'll show up. And they're supposed to be here the first week of May, assuming the weather holds, so.
Okay. Then a few up, litho specialists, laser bills, first notice utility billing.
That's our utility billing cards.
Oh, we pay for those for the year. Did not even realize that was the name of them. Thank you. That was it for me.
Anyone else? Roll call, please, Tori.
Alderperson Brewster,
Yes.
Berglund,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Mask, Ratcliffe,
Yes.
Sewell, Van Campen,
Yes.
Logan.
All right, next we have a motion to approve and vote on contract number 1, the Helm Construction, 4th Street reconstruction and water main improvement. It's page 16 through 20. Motion, please.
Support.
Thank you. Discussion?
So, can we ask some questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Give us some.
Nice here.
So I know you sent this over to us already, and we've gotten a copy through Eric. I had some questions. Did you get the full packet? I was gonna read off what page number, but it's probably different for him. This is. Trying to look for the page here. Okay, find it now. There is a reference to Newman, their list of line items not adding up to their total bid.
Yeah, cost on that.
Yeah, on theirs, some of our contracts we bid on lump sum, we'll ask for them to break out their lump sum bids. So like on water tank painting, we have them give us a lump sum bid, and then we break it down. Typically we're doing a complete repaint of the tower. We'll have what we call painting the exterior, painting the interior dry portion. Interior dry portion is everything that's where the water's not, and then the interior wet portion of it. And then we may itemize some of the things that we might be replacing, like the vent on it, the mud valve on the tower, some mobilization, demobilization, and then in this case, because of the proximity to some of the houses in the area, we'll have full containment on that, so we have line items for that. So it does kind of help us kind of take a look at where the value is in their lump sum bid, and then we'll use those to put on the pay request to pay them as we go. So the award is based off of the lump sum amount.
Okay.
If it's awarded to them, we'll have them correct where they had a incorrect number on their breakdown.
Okay.
So you're the responsible party to make sure the irregularities get corrected.
Yeah, I just, what we do is anything that they supply in their bid that might be a bidding irregularity. We had some contractors that didn't complete forms. We had one contractor on the tank painting that didn't do the DBE requirements, which is key to the loan program. So if they would have been the low bid, which they weren't, thank goodness, we would have been forced to reject their bid because EPA wouldn't grant a loan to them for not doing the DBE items and stuff. So all we're doing is pointing out any irregularities. If there's something in their bid that's irregular that you know, we believe that, you know, could affect their price, that the city should take a look at rejecting their bids, we would let you know. None of them, you know, none of the low bid items that were irregular were anything that were necessary to reject the bid, so.
So that was where I was going with that question. If the line items added up, for example, on the Newman bid, and it was actually $1,027,000, they would not then be the low bid, even if they, right?
No, on this one, it's a breakdown, so we would go by the actual lump sum bid. So this is a lump sum bid, they gave us a lump sum, it just so happens that their breakdown didn't add up to their lump sum bid. Now, on the other contract, that is what we call a unit price contract. So the contractors, we give them quantities and units for all the bid items, then they put in their unit price for each item, and that's how we're paying them, by the quantity they install and the unit price, and then there's a total. Now, what we do after the bid opening is we go through and we tabulate all those individual line items with their unit prices to make sure those extensions are correct. On their bid, on a unit price contract, you could have a total that gets changed for award because they did a math error, you know, multiplying the quantity times their unit price to give the total. We base their price off of the unit price that they put in there, because that's how we're gonna be paying them as they're doing the work. So, you know, sometimes, and we've had low bidders that they had a math error in calculating their total, you know, and stuff. So in those cases, you know, their bid isn't thrown out, we just, you know, correct the total amount of the bid based off of their unit prices.
Okay. On page 19 for the council, this is the total summary of pricing, and I'll hold it up so maybe you can.
Yep, gotcha.
Okay. So one point of clarity I wanted to seek here as we go down through these contracts, the total project cost is like 3.277. The Illinois EPA loan, the initial funding was 2.9 something. So over about 335,000. I noticed on the calculations at the bottom that it has principal forgiveness, whereas I was under the impression it was actual loan forgiveness. So who pays?
It's the same thing. EPA refers to it as principal forgiveness as part of their loan program. So when you see, you know, principal forgiveness, that is basically their term for a grant. So that's the dollar amount that the city will not be repaying. The actual IEPA loan to repay number, that will go into the loan for repayment, and then where you see IEPA annual loan payment, that's the estimated annual loan payment based off of that loan amount and the interest rate and terms for the loan, which.
So to have clarity here, the Illinois EPA loan gets recalculated to that 3.2 number?
Yeah, so what you'll get is, once you get your loan agreement, the loan agreement in this case would be for, when you get your loan agreement, it would be for the $3,277,422.29. That's what will be on the loan agreement. And then there's underneath there's a couple spots where they'll put the conditions of the loan, and they'll tell you that, you know, City of Fulton's eligible for 30% principal forgiveness, so they will put in the loan agreement that, you know, $983,226.69 is principal forgiveness, and then, you know, obviously the loan that you're gonna be repaying is the balance. But on the loan agreement, they don't give you a loan agreement for the project cost minus the principal forgiveness, because what they have to do is, even though you're not repaying all the loan, they have to send you, EPA or the state has to send you the $3,277,000 in payments. So they're gonna, as the contractor does work, they're gonna send you those payments, and then when the loan is closed out, you know, and stuff, then the actual repayment schedule will reflect the principal forgiveness that you're receiving. So you're not gonna be repaying the 3.2, you're gonna be repaying the 3.2 minus the principal forgiveness number.
So our actual loan repay is that number, approximately 2.3 million?
Yes, correct,
Okay.
yes.
I like that process a lot better, because we have grants for a building that we're working on, and we have to pay up front, and then they reimburse us.
Yeah, no, this is, the only thing with the loan program that you pay up front is really a lot of our engineering costs. So, you know, the design costs that you've paid for up front to get to this point, you've paid up front, but it's gonna get rolled into the loan, you know, and stuff. But moving forward, once we get in construction, as we process pay requests, we will bring disbursement forms, and then what'll happen is you'll approve contractor pay requests, we will send them into EPA, and then typically it's about a 45-day turnaround. They will send you the money, and then you will cut checks out to the contractor. So at that point during construction, you just pay as you go.
Nice.
Couple questions on the work on the water tower.
Yes.
We had some prior conversations regarding that, and it sounds like some of the internals of that they're not up to code or up to standard that's out there. Is repair of those in this bid?
I'd have to take a look and see what is not.
Yeah, the venting is taken care of within this bid.
A ladder or something in there that wasn't?
That's just the safety rail. So like when you go to hook yourself in, that's what he was referring to. The ladder itself is fine. It's just the where you click in for your harness that he was referencing.
And if there's something that doesn't meet code, it might be something that we might be able to get added to the project if it's just the harness hook for sliding up the rail.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think there was it the mesh needed to be replaced, which it will be replaced
Yeah,
anyways.
the overflow mesh that'll get replaced. The mud valve gets replaced. The vent on the tower gets replaced. So.
And then is there a warranty on the painting system that they're using?
Well, everything with our contract is a 1-year warranty, you know, and stuff for the contract. You know, typically the paint system that we're using, you're probably at least looking at 20 to probably 25 years as far as what we expect the longevity to be. And painting systems, quite frankly, the painting systems are better now than what they were when we originally painted the tower in 2000. So you've actually gotten, you know, about 25 years out of the original paint system, so which has been pretty good.
What kind of paint is it that lasts 25 years?
It's epoxy, and then on the outside they use what they call a hydroflon type paint system and stuff. It's designed to give it a glossy look, but it also will make sure I think we actually, the pricing's come down on it. Now we use it on the entire tank. Back when we originally painted this, we probably just used it on the lettering, which has the color. So it protects the paint system better. It'll give it a more glossy look to it, and it should keep the color retention on anything that has, you know, color other than white.
So does this include any lettering on the?
Yes, all the lettering will go back on. As far as contract 1, just so everybody knows, so on contract 2, since we're talking the tower,
tower's getting a complete blast on the outside and a complete repaint on the exterior. The interior wet area, same thing, we're gonna blast the bare metal, put a new paint system on the inside of the bowl where the water sits. And then the interior dry, we're just gonna be going in and grinding out any rust areas on the inside, and then priming those areas, and then it'll get a two-part overcoat on the interior dry portion. So, like when you go in the cone area, and then if you're going up the ladder on the inside of the stem, and stuff, those are the dry areas and stuff. They're not subject to, basically water and stuff there. So generally those areas don't corrode as fast, and we can typically get a overcoat on that the first time we paint. Eventually though, you can't keep overcoating towers. It's just like anything, the paint will get heavy enough if you get too much thickness on it, and it'll just start peeling off of the metal. So
I was shocked when we saw the pictures of what the interior looks like.
Yeah.
It certainly needs attention.
And then for contract 1, that's gonna have the 4th Street reconstruction and the water main improvements. The water main improvements are gonna be, all the water mains in the downtown area, so we're gonna be doing 4th, 10th, 1st, and 11th, and a little bit on 13th. So those water mains all get replaced, and then we've got a loop that'll kind of follow along the path and stuff from 22nd all the way down to 31st. And then the street reconstruction, that's gonna be from 10th down to 13th, and that's gonna be just the pavement reconstruction, and then obviously we'll get all the, parking stall areas painted in, crosswalks, all that. And then we're also putting in the street lights from 9th to 10th. Those have been purchased, but with the McCarthy project, and you've got them stored, we just have to have the contractor, put the foundations in, put the poles up, and wire them in. And that's why and I don't know what page it is on yours, there's a project summary page there. Eric requested I kind of break it out for you. So I broke it out. The first table on the bottom of the one page, starts with project summary. It says 4th Street reconstruction, project cost summary.
Page 18 for us, I'm just wondering.
Yep. So that construction cost, we went into contract 1 and we broke it into 2 parts. So some of the street reconstruction we can include in the EPA revolving fund loan, because we would have had to replace that pavement as part of the water main work and water service work that we're doing. So the importance of putting it on there is we're getting 30% principal forgiveness. So some of the pavement is getting, forgiven as far as the cost of construction. So the portion of the pavement that really falls on the city and other local funds, the construction cost is $862,193.65. I put a small contingency in there, plus construction engineering, so, what's left on that is about $975,000 that will be locally funded for the street reconstruction. And then we kind of went through the next page. That's all the cost that's going into the revolving fund loan. So you can see contract 1 portion, once we subtract out the portion that we can't include in there, that part of it's $1,926,008.05, and then we've got the rest of the cost for contract 2 and contingency and engineering cost. The engineering of note, the engineering design, geotechnical, and loan administration, $173,000. You have already paid us for that work, so once we get the loan agreement and we can make our first disbursement, that money will be coming back into the city, and then you can put it back in whatever funds you took it out of.
What was that number again?
It was $173,000. It's on this table right here. It's design, engineering, geotechnical work, and loan application. We've had to incur those costs just to get to the point we're at.
Sure. Going back to the 4th Street reconstruction, the parts that we're gonna have to self-fund.
Yep.
So of the 862,000 number, that includes the installation from 10th to 9th Street for the streetlights?
Yes, it includes the streetlights from 9th to 10th, correct.
Okay. And I guess the other question that I had, this is previous, is going back to the water tower. I was expecting to see the person's company that came in and addressed the council, and is only the lowest 4 bids shown, or was there only 4 bids?
There's only 4 bids.
There are only 4 bids, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And they were one of them.
Well, which one were they?
Their actual name is Maxi Ford.
Okay, so that's what they're, thank you.
I think the lamp posts are on the street, they're on 4th Street from 9th Avenue to 10th Avenue. That streets over here.
Yeah, 4th Street from 9th Avenue to 10th Avenue, correct, yeah. Did I say street? Sorry.
Yeah. I just,
Hey, Rob, does this not include looping the water down on First?
Yes, it does, yes. So we'll go from just south of 13th all the way up to 9th with the water main, that'll be a 12-inch, and then we will be going on 10th from 1st to 4th, on 1st from 10th to 11th, and then on 11th from 1st back to 4th, and then we have just a little bit of a loop down on 13th from,
Third to
third to 4th, excuse me, yep. And then we also have the piece that we're looping from 22nd out to 31st.
I know that we still have to approve these contracts, but what's the initial timeline in your estimations to start for the 4th Street water main replacement?
I'm anticipating probably gonna be sometime in June. We'll probably get the loan agreement hopefully by mid to end of May, and then once we do, we'll be able to send the contracts out to the contractor and have a pre-construction meeting first part of June, and then we can start talking to the downtown people about scheduling and stuff. I don't wanna, we've kind of indicated in the drawings, from I think the last time I was here for a meeting, really the preference was to start at the north end and kind of move down with the street reconstruction. Well, the water main, we gotta get in first and get all that tested, and then the services in, and that'll be a moving operation. But once we start with the street reconstruction, we're gonna start at the north end and move south, and we're just going to close it block by block. But when we do block by block, the sidewalks will be still accessible, and stuff for people wanting to get to businesses and everything.
I had a question on the concrete, excuse me. As we're looking down 4th, how far does the concrete expand out into the avenue intersections? Is it to the end of?
It'll go at least to the radius returns on it, and we may even go a little bit farther on some.
Talking about where they meet the sidewalks and the curbs?
Yeah. So on the side streets, where the curb and gutter comes around the corner on the races and get into the straight piece, we'll be going at least that far on the side streets as well.
What about the one-way? So if we're doing a block at a time, is it when the final block's completed with the street reconstruction, then the one-way starts?
Yes.
As you open up the blocks, they won't be one-way?
No, we won't worry about the one-way until everything is done.
Okay.
Because
it's a good idea.
with the way everything's gonna
Great idea.
fall out, it's just gonna be a hassle trying to make that into a one-way.
Right.
So we'll just leave it a two-way until we're done, and then we'll probably have to have them, shut down from 10th to 13th for a day or two while they get everything painted. It'll just be easier on whoever that contractor is, just to have everything shut down and just do it in one big project.
Matt, my understanding is though, each block will be shut down for 4 weeks. Is that correct?
Yeah, roughly 4 weeks for the street reconstruction. Now, the water main work, as we're laying that water main through there, they're gonna probably be in the block maybe 3-4 days per block as they're laying that water main up 4th Street. And then once it's connected to the south end, all the way to the north end, then we'll start doing our testing and stuff of the water main, pressure and disinfection. Once we have an operating permit where we can start connecting up customers, then we'll go through and start, picking up all those services. Currently, the businesses are still on the old main. We replaced the services when we did the sidewalk work from the building out to the existing main. Now we just have to get it from the new main and connected in where we left off on the McCarthy's project with the sidewalk replacement. So we shouldn't have to get into the sidewalks anymore. They're gonna be undisturbed. All of our work is gonna be between the curb and gutters.
I think it's important for the business owners to know that they don't have that expectation that when you move on, that block is gonna.
Yeah, we'll try to do the best we can, kind of communicating schedule with everybody, and stuff to kind of, like I said, when the water main starts, that'll be the first thing, and it'll be kind of a moving operation, and stuff, and they're not gonna be taking out the whole street, they'll be just taking out what they need for, the trench for installing the water main, and they'll backfill it with rock, but then, vehicles can get back on it, and stuff, and then, once all the water mains in and tested and all the services are connected and we start doing the street reconstruction, that's where we're gonna have block by block, and we'll try to get a really good schedule from the contractor at that point, so we can kind of keep everybody updated, and stuff. It may require, maybe giving them an update on a weekly basis, just to make sure if we tell them, hey, we're gonna be closed for 4 weeks, keep them up to date on, are we ahead of schedule, are we a little behind schedule, just to make sure everybody knows where we're at.
On the engineering side, specifically for the concrete, as everybody noticed, we have some rolling sidewalks. We did that, for water runoff. Are we gonna have a rolling 4th Street, or will it be crowned in the middle to encourage?
It'll be crowned in the middle, yes, it
Okay.
will. Yep. Everything's gonna drain to the curb and gutter line and stuff, and then to the inlets and stuff for drainage.
So it'll be essentially level, but it will be crowned
It will be
to
crowned,
encourage
correct.
water runoff.
Correct.
Anyone else? Roll call, please, Tori.
This is for the first one, right?
Number 8.
Councilperson Bergeron,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Mask,
Yes.
Ratcliffe,
Yes.
Sewell, Van Campen. Yes. Wilkin, Boonstra,
Yes.
All right, next we have motion to approve and vote on contract number 2. Newman Contractors, elevated water storage tank and painting, pages 21 and 23. Motion, please.
Support.
Discussion?
We've had it already.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
What's the timeline for this contractor?
Probably gonna be, I'm guessing, about 3 months, so hopefully they can get started, depending on their schedule, we'll know more of the pre-construction. Hopefully they're gonna be able to get started in July and then probably finish by October.
And you're gonna be, one more question.
Yeah.
Part of that construction was that you guys were gonna block off that section of, was it?
Yes, as far as traffic control up there, we were going to block that on 9th where the tower's at, we're gonna close off that block there, and then a little bit on the side street there on
7th?
7th.
7th or 8th.
Yeah,
Okay.
just a little bit there. We'll block it off at basically where the city's property line would be at, and stuff, just to give them enough room to get equipment, materials and stuff in there.
And how long would that be? How long will it be shut down?
Probably the full time. I mean, we could see if they would allow us to pull it after they get the exterior painted, because they really need that for the containment. Once the exterior of the tank's painted, they can remove the containment and stuff that'll go around the tank, and then if they're just working on the inside, they may not need that extra area. But we will have they gotta find a spot there. We got a pressure tank that's gonna go up, tanks up at the tower and stuff there, that's gonna act as, a little bit of, storage while the tower's down.
I can only think of one house that would have garage access on that specific block, but I assume that will
Oh, yeah,
be dealt with.
yeah, we'll make sure that they can get to their house, that's not an issue.
Okay.
Anyone else? Roll call please, Tori.
Alderperson King,
Yes.
Mask,
Yes.
Ratcliffe,
Yes.
Sewell, Van Campen. Yes. Wilken, Boonstra,
Yes.
Bergrat.
Yes.
So these are for you.
Oh, thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you. Next, we have a motion to approve and vote on McCarthy pay request number 7, pages 24 to 31. Motion, please.
Second.
Discussion.
So I guess we weren't done with, the payments on these, huh?
No, we knew that,
Yeah.
we knew that going into it.
This one should take you, all the pay items, the actual physical work being done is paid up, with this pay request is paid up to date. The only thing left, and I'd have to look on the pay request, how much the retainage is.
91.
So you're holding, so only 91,000 in retainage for the contractor. That will be the last pay request, but we can't do that until all the punch list items are completed, so.
So Eric, what's our total right now that we paid out if we approve this, the 1,736,000? It would be on page 20.
$1,736,283.54.
That's line 6 of page 25, if anybody else is looking for where I'm looking at.
We're just doing a lot of money here tonight, aren't we?
Anyone else? Roll call please, Tori.
Alderperson Mask,
Yes.
Ratcliffe,
Yes.
Sewell, Van Campen. Yes. Wilken, Boonstra,
Yes.
Bergrat,
Yes.
King.
Yes.
All right, next we have a motion to approve and vote on resolution authorizing the initiation of the process to seek an extension of our TIF district.
Second.
Discussion? We kind of talked about this before, but do we have, if we extend this, are there any projects like planned right now for that area?
Nothing that I know of yet.
But there is still land out there to be developed?
Where is that?
Where is the
The land
land?
that's available for sale.
So you have the property right next to the fire station to the east. That's still privately owned. Dan Dolan still has some property on his land. There's some property right next to, what used to be the, Dr. Harrison's office. He's got some land over there. There's a spot next to Dollar General that some land is open, so, I mean, there's land there that's available to possibly do something
Can
with.
you get us a list of that, what's available out there?
Like all the addresses?
Just a list of what's available out there, what you just told us, just so we have it ready for our economic development committee to just take a look at. Yeah.
I'll probably do a map and just color
Oh,
it
that
that
would be
way.
even better.
Just so that way it's easier
Yeah.
to figure
That
out
would
where
be
the.
That's what I'm thinking too, like, you're thinking from like a marketing standpoint, right, to let people know what's available, if they
Yeah,
wanna
yeah.
build or
Yep.
bring
Because
something
we,
in that
we
way.
keep saying we're landlocked, well, you know, if there's something there and somebody's looking for it. Do you know anything about the status of Dr. Harrison's former
Do
medical
not,
office?
no, just
gonna
that
be-
it's closing, that's about all I know at this point.
I wondered if that building was gonna be put up for sale.
I'm not sure yet.
So this just authorizes us to pursue this request, not that it's being approved.
Yep, this is no guarantee that it will be approved, cause obviously that, is a state of Illinois, vote that they have to. It actually has to be voted on by the General Assembly and the governor has to sign it, assuming it makes it that far. So this just says that we are interested in, extending out our TIF district, TIF 1 specifically. And then our next step would be to go to either Lee Arnello or Ryan Spain and see which one of them is willing to back us to help get this pushed through.
So the one that exists now, if this doesn't move forward, does that automatically expire or that can
Yep.
still be extended? Or this is part of that?
So if this doesn't make it through the state of Illinois hearings, then yeah, our TIF is ended as of the end of 2028.
Okay.
At least this TIF, right?
And if we wanted to extend it, we had to do it at least a year in advance, correct?
Yeah, it's quite a process to get it, cause otherwise, if we delayed, we would end up having to we would have to pay a lobbyist to go down there on our behalf, and try and get the state, legislators to, get this turned over to us, so that way we can extend our TIF out. Sterling actually just went through that here this past year.
So we have to go back to the other public facilities that get money, like the library and the school district to.
We would have to provide them notice that we are looking to.
Just a notice, you don't have to go.
Right, yeah. And then, but our first step is going to, our local representatives and seeing which one of them is willing to help back us on this. But this just reassures us that we are gonna try and move forward with this.
Anyone else? Roll call, please, Tori.
Alderperson King,
Yes.
Mask,
Yes.
Ratcliffe,
Yes.
Sewell, Van Campen. Yes. Morgan, Boonstra,
Yes.
Bergrat.
Yes.
All right, next for discussion, it's a banner application. So after we approved the two last meeting, it was brought to an idea to come up with an application. So Eric found one and then Adam modified it to fit Holton. So this is just an exact copy of another town, same amounts, just for discussion, and if we like it, or if we like the idea, or if you don't like the amount, whatever.
So with the additional installation of the 9th to 10th Avenue portion of 4th, we'll end up having 16 total. Okay. So I was gonna ask you guys this question anyway. The brackets that are currently holding the Dutch Days banners, are those set or can they be adjusted to?
Those are set.
Okay, so the banners have to be that size?
Yep.
Okay.
What does it mean they're on poles without brackets? I didn't think we had anything like that.
I
Or
think
does
all
that
of our-
mean, does
I
that
think
mean,
all of our poles
does that
have
mean all the
brackets.
signs that are on a fence on a on private property or something? What is a pole without a bracket? And how would you?
So
handle
if
that?
we had, so this would encompass, and I don't even know if ComEd would allow us to put things on their poles. Power companies get kind of territorial when it comes to their telephone poles. But if, say they did allow us and we needed to put a bracket or something up there, we would have to put new brackets up because there's currently nothing on any power poles through our downtown or wherever it is we may wanna do it.
Well, I thought that was misleading, because I thought there were some poles that we owned that didn't have brackets, so.
Anything through downtown has a bracket on it.
We can just eliminate that too.
That would make sense.
This, like I said, this is just
One thing,
Copy
since,
paste.
since I had experience for several years with the banners and how positive the public is with the reception, I think if we're going to talk about this, we would want the public's input, because
they're the people we're trying to get down here to use the Main Street. And we want something that's appeasing to them and what they like. So I think it's really important if we're going to, and I'm in favor of having the application. I'm just saying, let's look at who our target audience here is. Who do we want down here looking at us? Or do we want the people who are gonna shop downtown? Because it's their Main Street. And I try to always keep that in mind when I'm making decisions about Main Street, is that it's the people's Main Street. And if they're not here, our businesses don't stay. So somewhere I would like to see that component put in here to get some advice from what they would like to see, including the veteran banners and Dutch Days or anything else. I did just briefly talk to Eric about this a couple weeks ago. And I think also that's important is that we decide as a city, what are we gonna do with our light post? Are we gonna be putting banners up? Because I asked him that and he said, well, we will put some up, meaning the taxpayer will be buying these banners. And we just are spending $2,000. They can only be up for 2 months. So if the city is going to get in that business of putting banners up, I think that's something we should know before we adopt this. That should be a consideration that we talk about. And I think we gave ourselves some time to look at this application, so this is just the first discussion. But those are two things I think are very important, is what role is the city playing in this? How many banners are we gonna put up, every 2 months? And will the city always have the right over everybody else? I think that's important. Just based on that, we just spent $2,000 on ours, and there's no guarantee that we are gonna be able to put them up next year. Somebody might come along and say, I wanna put shamrocks up next spring.
Well, I
And
think
so
that's
that
part
would-
of the procedural part of it too, like, is it first come, first serve, or if I turn this application in, I automatically get the time frame that I
Well, that's what I think is important for us to decide. Is the city gonna be able to upstage if something comes along and the city wants to have it? Are they gonna be able to say to us next year, we really wanna do something else? Because we certainly wouldn't invest that kind of money in a banner again, if that's the case. That we were a one-time thing, that's all we can guarantee. I think those things are important, and I think somehow we need to get the public's input because we encourage them to come down to keep the businesses going. And I think that information is extremely critical to us when we talk about anything downtown.
I'm not understanding. What'd you say, Barb? You want the public input for if they wanna buy banners?
No, I just want the public import to, information out to them that we're talking about a banner application here. And who's going to have priority over it? Is it gonna be us as a council that we're gonna say to somebody coming in? Like I said, I just used Dutch Days for an example. Next spring as a city, are we gonna say we'd rather have something else? Because we wouldn't invest that kind of money if it was gonna be up for
Well,
60 days.
I think is what it would be, you always know when Dutch Days is, that you would have it reserved for that.
But that's not what this application is saying. There is nothing like that in there. There is no commitment.
Yeah, but I think if you filled it out,
No, there's nothing in there, Sue. I've been over this application quite carefully because I've had more experience with it than anybody else. So I'm just looking out for anybody else who wants it.
we haven't experienced any other people coming to put banners up. So, but I mean, when you.
Well, then why are we doing this? I mean, we're doing it in case somebody comes,
No,
right?
no, what I'm saying is like, if she filled it out this year for those dates, can she go ahead and fill out for the next year for those dates?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's stopping you from doing that?
Just got another application.
Yeah.
For
So you-
2027, 2028.
Yeah.
So I can fill it
I guess I
out.
would
If I'm
say
gonna
we-
invest the money, I can fill it out and say I want these 2 months every year for the next 5 years. There's nothing that says that in here. I
Maybe a
think
year
that's
in
There's nothing that doesn't say it either.
the following year. I would say 1 year in advance. That way, when you fill it out, you can say, I'd like to also turn to my application for 2027 at the same time. You'll be ahead of everyone for that date.
Yeah, because yeah.
There's nothing in there that says that. That's my point. I agree.
No, there's not,
I'm
because this is a
disagreeing
copy
with
and
you.
paste for us to discuss and make changes to.
Right.
So,
Or I can put it in Trello.
Logan, I have a question. How long do you think did it take for you guys to put up the 12? I assume there's 12 out there for Dutch Days.
Yeah.
How long did it take? Do you remember? I don't know who did it.
Hour and a half, 2 hours.
Okay. it says, you know, installation, I just automatically assume that that involves taking them back, you know, the city taking them back down too, even though it doesn't specifically state that on here.
Probably comes down quicker than goes up.
Sure, and then the other question I had, the snowflakes that we purchased, the city purchased, do those fit between those brackets? Okay, so whenever the city decided that's when we were gonna have those up, whether they be, you know, December 1st to, I don't know, the end of January, whatever, nobody could have that,
Right.
those banners. Okay,
City has priority.
okay.
And that, I think that has to be stipulated here, that somebody knows that. They have something, an idea that.
Do we really want a private contractor putting banners up if they would break a bracket off one?
No, I think Public Works would do it.
To just remove the private contractor? Cause
I
here it
would
looks like
prefer,
I can,
but for years,
There's
Terry,
somebody
the
else
fire
that wants to
department
do
did it. For,
Was that add on here?
so
Private contractor.
fee schedule.
There you go.
the fire department did it for years, it was just in the last couple of years.
They did the Christmas decorations.
They did our banners too.
I'm curious, I assume they use a lift bucket for these?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess the first thought I have is seeing somebody with a 50-foot ladder trying to balance it up against the
And
pole.
fall and take it.
Walking it up there. I would be okay with removing the private contractor, I think. Unless there was somebody that we felt that we could trust as a reference contractor.
I would prefer the
Have to
city
carry
to it.
insurance.
I just like to leave it as Public Works.
Yeah.
Sorry, Logan. I mean, the $35 can go to Public Works revenue.
I'm not trying to make it cost prohibitive, but 35 for the first banner and 12 for each additional banner. And let's just assume it's for all 16, even though it says in here, maybe somebody doesn't want to put up 16, maybe they want to put up 6 or whatever.
Sure.
I don't know if that's enough to justify the time for the Public Works time to, you know, bring out a truck and, cause that would be like what? If they did all 16, that'd be, trying to math real quick. 15,
Yeah,
about
230
bucks. 200, yeah.
So do we charge other
So you think it should be more?
organizations for Public Works putting out picnic tables and stuff? Is it just gonna be the banners that they get paid, that we charge a fee for?
This is, we just literally copy and pasted. This, none of this is set in stone.
Yeah.
But I'm just asking, if
Except
you're
the
gonna
header.
start charging some organization for a fee for something Public Works did, is it applicable to only this? Or
We do
something?
charge through the application of events, right?
No, we just pay
Yes.
a fee for the applicant to complete the application.
Okay. What does that fee go to?
I don't know.
Just administrative filing.
Rebecca, you're on a Dutchley committee, anything else that you can think of on this topic that?
My suggestion would be that you limit it to not-for-profits. And then you don't allow commercial enterprises to put
That's a good point.
banners up, advertising banners on the city poles.
That's a good point.
I can agree with that. I don't know if there needs to be some, and again, this is, got opened up because obviously we had the veterans.
Right.
Brought to us and then it's like, well, who's next sort of thing. And the first thing I thought of was like, well, if we start opening it up, like, what's prevent a business owner saying, I wanna rent 2 of the signs for a summer sale I'm gonna have and have advertisements up, you know, for their store. I don't know if I'm necessarily opposed to that. I'm just saying that that's, you know, how far does that go? And I don't know. It's just, you know, we put a policy in place and then decide, we really don't want to be advertising, I don't know, the dispensary downtown.
No, I think
it should be the city has final decision.
Like Rebecca said, I kind of didn't think of it that way, the not-for-profit, but it kind of makes sense from a charity and altruistic manner.
Well, honestly, if we have the city going from December to March with the Christmas decorations, or February, and then we have Dutch Days, April to May, and then you have the Memorial to Labor Day or Veterans Day for the veterans, I mean, there's really not much time left on an annual basis.
Well, that was something that I think the council needs to discuss is if the city is going to want to put something up on these, you know, on these poles, you know, if, excuse me, if we want something put up in the summertime around the 4th of July, you know, whether you're welcome to Fulton, you know, whatever that may be, you know, then again in the fall does the city want something up for, you know, like Fall Fest, you know, anything, these are all conversations that I think we need to have.
I do too.
Because, you know, who's to say next year when everything's done and we're like, well, hey, we wanna put something up on our light poles, but, you know, whether it's, you know, Dutch Days has theirs, or, you know, the veterans, you know, maybe they have a great year and every single one of them's filled and, but yeah, we only get it, you know, for a few short months. So I think the conversation needs to be had here on how we wanna move forward with that.
Well, this is
Well,
a
I
good,
think
good
if
start.
if anyone wants to use our light poles, it should be all, not just 1 or 2 or 3 light poles, because then
And I would agree, yeah.
because Logan's gonna be up and down, this one wants 3 poles, If they take all 16, that's where they should be.
I like that too.
So, I guess to play devil's advocate with that, say the Veterans Day, they only get 5 families that decide they wanna, you know, put something up downtown with these banners. You know, do we tell them, well, hey, you didn't get enough to fill the entire street, so we're not gonna allow you to put them up?
Yeah, I think you do. I think you
Well, like I said, I'm just
do.
playing devil's.
I would say it's gotta be all 16 or none, I don't know. Otherwise, if you have people like, even the veterans, if they only got 5, you're gonna have Logan, he's gonna be up here all the time, changing out.
No, I don't disagree, I'm just, you know,
Right.
trying to
Good
think of
point,
different
Gary. It's a good
scenarios
point,
that we could run into.
So I would say it's you're running the 16 poles, and even if you put up 6, you still pay the full amount.
Not 16.
Yeah.
And
That way there's no,
well, and to continue with like you're saying, is let's say Veterans Day, for example, they only get 6. Well, if the city had its own 4th of July ones or patriotic ones, they could also put them up at the same time to fill the rest of the poles. But they would still pay for them, you know what I mean? They would pay for all 16, but instead of having 5 or 6 poles with something on it to fill it up, the city could use their own banners that they may have, whether it's fall or, you know, summertime or patriotic.
Just to welcome to Fulton.
Or even that, but I mean, so even though they pay for all 16, the city still has their section of banners they could fill in the empty ones.
But I do like Sue's suggestion that if you're gonna put them up, first thing I can think of is some business person saying, you know, they got a banner I didn't get.
And that is a possibility.
Oh,
Eric, one thing I think we can all agree on is, since those brackets are fixed, that we put whatever size they are, so the person knows exactly what size of banners.
37
there.
by 73.
Yeah.
Zach, on the dollar amount, were you thinking more or less?
You know,
If they
Takes
gotta
them
do
an
all
hour to
six-
do it.
If they gotta do all 16,
You can do a flat fee
Yeah.
instead of per pole. Since you're gonna make them do all of them anyways, you could just do a flat fee.
$250.
yeah. Yeah, at the very least, it'll be, at most, be 16 up and then 16 back down at whatever date in the future.
I say, put a flat fee of $250 to have Public Works to hang them and take them down. And then they buy their own banner.
Yeah, that, I mean, they
Yep.
definitely have to supply those. I like that, I'm not opposed to that.
Is everybody good if, something needs to be repaired with that $35 fee for each trip?
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
because You know,
Or-
if there's a storm that comes through, which there will be, and one of them's gonna blow down, cause that's just how it works, you know, public works will still have to come back out, you know, put it back up and.
Yep, and I would stick to the size, it has to remain that size.
There is
You'll
no,
have less.
there is no choice on the size.
Right, well, yeah, it has to
I mean,
remain
the
that
brackets
size.
are in, the brackets are in the
Brackets are fixed.
So would the renewal fee be something like for what Barb was stating for like Dutch Days? Like repeat, is that what that's there for? Do you know?
To be honest, I'm
Just
not
cut and
really
paste,
sure.
but I'm more leaning towards year by year, no renewal.
Yeah.
I think Zach, because they had it on a 60-day limit, it was probably to renew it for another 60 days.
Oh, gotcha, thank you, that makes sense. The 60 days.
Do we need a limit? Or just let them put whatever dates they want,
I think there's definitely a limit,
60-day limit?
I think that's good, because then you're.
it's worth the
You have a
investment.
nice variety, I mean, it'll be moving down to see what's.
So like this year, we agreed to the Veterans Memorial ones for what?
90 days,
To,
more, a little more than 90 days, I guess it would be.
Because it's the 250th
So
birthday
that
of
was
the United States, that's why.
especially, and then.
Yeah.
But I think that
Next year,
60-day
it's
limit
60
is
days.
fair to everybody, that 60-day, you get a nice variety in there.
Yeah.
Well, so can we have all these suggestions put on a new sheet and
Yeah,
go
yeah, no,
together?
we'll
Have a nice-
redo what we have here and take some stuff out, add some stuff in and bring it back and see what everybody thinks.
Just one, I mean, the suggested desired location of banners, I assume in this, whatever city you took this from has multiple locations.
That would be my guess.
I would just take that out and just
Yep.
say Fourth Street
Yep,
light poles, just to make it crystal clear.
Bring it in.
yep.
And the people on the east end will comment about how come they don't get banners out there.
Can't make everybody happy, I guess.
Yep. It's good.
All right, next we have purchase approval form, page 35 to look over and discuss. Finance committee had a meeting and this was one of the items they came up with in their committee meeting. Basically has dollar amounts there and who is the approval authority of purchase.
This is more for internal purposes, so we can track our budget better. And then when it does come time, you know, to review the bill list, if somebody has specific questions on something, we can have our approval form for what it was for. Give a little more information to the council as they need.
So are we looking at dollar amounts? Are you wanting an opinion back from us on these dollar amounts? Or did the finance committee put this together?
we
You've
put it-
already looked at it?
Yeah, we came up with these dollar amounts based on previous purchases made that may or may not have had certain levels of approval. Really,
I think they're really
there'll
very
be
generous.
documentation that will be filed, and then we can pull it.
Both sides.
We can pull it towards the bill list at the end of the month if you know, is so desired at future meetings, but the thought was Eric would review this with the department heads, go over it and, you know, and then be effective on May 1st, which would be the new fiscal year. Says we're trying to really get the new fiscal budget locked down and have everybody paying attention to that.
Now, are these for any purchases? Cause I'm looking right now and thinking, police department's got two funds. To spend that money, it only needs the chief's approval by ordinance or by law.
Well, but trust me, that's not gonna happen unless I talk to my finance committee first and him. So, if there's any big purchases, that doesn't.
I just wanna make sure that we're thinking about that.
So for example, if Chad wanted to buy something that was $15,000, he's the department head, obviously. He has to talk to Eric, and then he has to get 3 written quotes to ensure that we're having a competitive, you know, it's not just, I need it. We did talk about an emergency situation that we can get the mayor approval on it. But, really, the, one above 25,000, I think is pretty much
That's state law.
state law anyways, so that's where that amount came in.
I think that's high.
But really having some process in here to be able to say, well, who approved this?
The thought process too was that it'll help the department heads at budget time too, because if they wanna go back and review last year's purchases, they can see things that are reoccurring. They can see the one-time, one-offs, if that's gonna be an issue again, and it just kinda helps them in that way, but it also gives some accountability and ultimately when multiple eyes are looking at it, if somebody knows another way they could go for a cheaper option or another source, then they can have that conversation too, so.
I think those are all good points, really valid to have this. I'm very supportive of having it. Internal and for us both ways.
Everyone likes it as is? All right, next is water sewer rates, page 36.
Did we get a chart with what it is now and what?
Yep, I have one right here if you guys wanna pass it along. So the numbers in front of you are based off of a 4% increase, which is what we have done, in previous years. It comes out to be right about a $2 increase, on the minimum bill, and that would be for your, your water, your sewer and your garbage.
Just to be clear though, that's just for the water and sewer on our side. Republic gets to come to us.
Yeah, Republic, they have a 5% max they can go up to per their contract. So in the past, they've always done it. I'm assuming they're gonna do it again this year. That's where the fixed month cost for refuse comes from. And then we also have an administrative fee within that.
I get a lot of complaints about Republic. Is there any opportunity to look at somebody else even?
We can, once the contract's about to expire
And when does that?
next year.
Next year. Then we could,
We're
and are
gonna,
there other opportunities for us to
there's a
look
few,
at?
we're gonna go out for an RFP and hopefully draw some interest from other companies.
Can we start that process now?
I mean, you could, but won't do anything until the contract expires, so.
But it'd be interesting to know if there's a better option for us out there, or do we have to learn how to work with this one in more,
I think there are, it's just, you know,
maybe we
what
just have to be
services
one.
are affected by that at that time, you know, is recycling something they still offer? Is that something they wanna do away with? So, I mean, there's pros and cons to both, we just have to figure out what, you know, we as a city feel it best suits us.
And we don't really have any communication with this company like we did with Mooring.
I mean, we have some communication, but we don't have a lot.
When things go really bad, we do.
Yeah, but Mooring was, you know, I mean, I knew who he was and, you know.
Yep.
Could have a conversation with him, and he was open to what the issues were.
Yep.
You don't have anybody in that listening,
So-
but maybe we've never asked them to come.
So,
They've come to meetings before and I have the,
we were in meetings.
yep, it was back when we were out at Cattail.
It was out when we were out in,
Oh, when we were out in the cattail, oh, okay.
one thing that
Forgot about that.
I'll throw out to the council, just on that topic of when that, you know, down the road of the RFP, we don't have to talk about it now, just, you know, either public input or maybe an ad hoc, committee, like what do we wanna see for the next, you know, what's the requirements that we want, from our provider? And, you know, do we want weekly recycling pickup in our next contract, for example? Or do we want a larger bin included on the garbage side? I don't know, I'm just throwing these things out there, but we'll need to know those things to outline the RFP.
Yep.
I think getting public input is really important because I live alone, but other people who have 6 or 7 people in their household are dealing with a whole different volume than I am. So I think it'd be good to try to get some input from other families. And still, I seem to have a lot of garbage. Let me back myself.
Any questions about the rates?
We'll be voting on that then, next meeting.
Yes.
It is one of the most important things we do is water, sewer.
All right, next we're gonna talk about the city council pay rates. This is, page 37 is from the IML fact sheet. Also, our current ordinance is attached in here. So I bring this up now because the next year's election is coming up. If we want to pass something, it has to be done no later than October. I know this is earlier than October, but it's not a bad time to discuss it. Currently, and I'm not opposed to an increase or a decrease or whatnot, I just left them the same, but I gave each of you a Excel sheet here. It's not in the packet, but this is like a proposal of the same rates, basically. It's just broken down instead of per meeting, it's per meeting attended. And then it comes with an annual salary. So basically, instead of alderperson example, 75 per meeting, if there's 2 meetings a month, it's 150, 12 months in the year, that's 1,800. So 1,800, a proposal may be 600 annual, whether you attend 1 meeting or 0 meetings or all of them, and then $50 per meeting attended. The math still comes out to 1,800 per year, and then the committee meeting would just stay the same as 75. I did the similar with the mayors and the clerk.
And is this just an information item, Shane, or did you have a reason why you wanted us to revisit this at this time?
Well, like I said, it has, if we're going to make a change, it has to be before the next election, so, but, I know, Bill. I don't know, I'm just not a fan of getting paid if you're not here, but.
Well, I think that's a subject that we should have a discussion on.
That's one thing that it would probably solve. We've had 7 meetings this year and 10 absences, I think, already, so. I don't know.
I don't know, the 3 of us who've been around for a long time, I remember going years at a council meeting that no one missed. And everybody came prepared. And we had good discussions no one missed. Everybody took that as and it's an awesome responsibility that the 8 of us share, not the staff or the mayor, but the 8 of us, because we have the oversight financially of everything that happens. It's a couple $1 million a year that the 8 of us are responsible for. And I think that it's just an awesome responsibility. So, but it's a new phenomenon because I don't remember that happening for years. Everybody came and prepared. So.
Well, like I said, it's the same rate, so if you get elected and come to every meeting, then you're not losing any money.
But it isn't about the money, it's about.
Well, sure, but I'm just saying.
I do have something I can share with you. I was meeting with Dave Gendrick the other day. He's the township supervisor across the street. And we were meeting because the township is gonna do some things in the cemetery with our bicentennial or quincentennial celebration. And I was meeting with him, and I don't even know, I know how it came up. He said that the state of Illinois has created another district. And not getting local newspapers, we don't even know that, but there's been another assessor district created. And so he had to appoint 2 people to be on that district, and he's starting them out at $125 per meeting. And he took 2 of his township people who are currently making 75. In fact, Paul Banker and I, when we were on the personnel committee about raising this rate here, we pretty much landed on what they were getting across the street. They have much responsibilities than what we have. And that's how we ended up at the 75. But Dave said in his new budget, he is putting in, and it takes the district, or it takes the supervisor or the township trustees to vote for it, but he is definitely putting in 125. He is, there's no question of he's making that motion to his trustees, that they're gonna start making $125 for every meeting. And then this other district that's just been created, 2 of those people, so a couple of those are gonna get paid $250 a month for showing up for 2 months. So that's, I'm just sharing that with you, because it was right across the street. And we
Well-
were talking about something else and this came up.
And also, there's like, this only references council meetings and special meetings. Like, I mean, Tuesday, I'm going to a meeting in Morrison, there's no compensation. Mindy and I have both attended Grow Clinton, I can't pay her for that, you know, maybe there needs to be some verbiage in there where like, if the mayor wants you to sit in on a meeting, maybe you should get paid, you know, but we don't have the authority to do that right now. So that may be another option or an amendment to our ordinance to allow that to happen. Zach and Mindy
Eric, do you have any idea what other?
sat in on the,
Every community's different.
yeah. Zach and Mindy have sat in on the negotiations and we can't pay them for that. They've had 3 meetings. The ordinance doesn't allow us to pay anything outside of a council meeting or a special meeting or a committee meeting. So that, you know, we can fix that as well. Well, I call it a fix, but.
So I already shared this with Shane, me volunteering my time on stuff I do at home and get involved with is my choice, right? Nobody should be forced to do that. That should be up to, you know, each individual person has an individual situation. The one thing that is mandatory though in our committee meetings, and obviously this one, is the meeting minutes, you know, it's required by OMA. That's something that I would like to see either change to that person that has that, because that's something that, you know, you have your, say, our committee meeting, you know, every other month or every month or whatever, then that person that has to come to that meeting has to take that time upon themselves at home, you know, review, put it together. And I told Shane that I would do the committee meetings for free if I didn't have to do the meeting minutes at home. That's how much I don't like them.
They're time consuming.
So
You do the well.
I don't know exactly where that integrates into this larger conversation, but that's something that I would throw out there from because it's a mandatory time consumption, you know, outside of the meeting that you have to do, so.
I think that's where they figure it, Zach, is where you're getting paid $75 for that meeting, so those minutes, that's what qualifies getting paid for those
But
minutes.
my point is, so is the other person. You know what I'm saying? So is the other person that doesn't do the
But
meeting.
the other person is chairing the meeting and should have an agenda. So
Okay.
there's preparation and there's follow-up. If you're chairing a meeting, you're doing work.
But if we were to change anything on this, it would only affect the new elected officials first,
Correct.
not the old ones.
Right, it would not affect any of us.
Yeah,
None of us would get it, but
Right.
anybody newly elected would. And that happened to us, I think, maybe when we did this last time, there were some people that didn't get it.
Yeah, there's going to be an overlap.
Yeah, there was verbiage in here that you can delay it and then have it so it starts at the same time, same people or whatever.
True. And then also, well, to Zach's point too with the committees, because I had asked about if anyone wanted to switch or come off, or I haven't received anything, but I was considering just flipping everybody. And so now you're still on the same committee, but now Zach's the chair of the finance and Mindy can do the minutes.
Yeah, I was chair and doing the minutes for like a year before that, cause I didn't know it was supposed to be split, so. It just depends on what's happening in the committee, I suppose.
Well, about the committees, I think we've talked about this before, the council decides whether we even want to have standing committees. I mean, the 8 of us can decide that we don't need that extra information, but means it's just, we'll be here longer meetings because we'll, have staff providing that information. And then the council also decides if they want to have the mayor appoint or if they want to choose amongst themselves. And this council has always had in its ordinance that the mayor does select the committee assignments, but we don't have to have him do it.
Well, I'll just speak to the finance, for the public works negotiations for the union contract and things like that. I think it would be a great caveat for Shane to be able to have the ability to say that he's appointed 2 people to attend these meetings and he plans to pay them for that or whatever the case is. I certainly don't do this for the money, but I'll tell you, it's personal time away from my family. It's time away from work where I'm having to step out for an hour and a half to 2 hours while we sit through these negotiating meetings. And then there's just thought process and emails and things that go back and forth too. So this is one of the reasons Shane and I chatted about it, because I had put it on my timesheet assuming that the time sat in those meetings would be compensated for, and it was not. And that's not the end of the world. Again, I don't do this role for the money, but at the same time, when you are making those concessions in your personal life or professional life to be able to attend and be a part, I think there should be some compensation awarded.
But can't you consider that a committee?
We could not, we checked with IML,
Yeah,
so.
but we didn't know that at the time. I didn't think about it.
I don't think anything would be union negotiations would they be compensating. I'm not surprised.
What's that?
Union negotiation meetings, I don't think they would, IML would.
Oh, we would make it a standing committee. And then when they met, they would call a meeting. That's the way around it,
So Shane brought this up after our last finance meeting, or during our last finance meeting. I guess my question to that would be then the meeting minutes for if it was a standing committee, dealing with union negotiations. Well, union negotiations are private, so.
Well, you could call the meeting and go to closed session.
Yeah.
You can have to review it 6 months down the road.
Yes, that's where I was going with
You
it,
could-
is I'm gonna have to keep,
How detailed do
audio
your minutes
recording
need to be?
probably.
You get to be like, meeting called at, negotiations discussed, meeting adjourned at.
I don't think it's that big of a deal at the end of the day. I just think that if we're not going to get paid, it should be clear to that when you're taking the position, taking the role.
Is anyone against the proposal?
What's the proposal?
This one?
Down below.
Nothing.
Bottom half is what proposed.
I didn't. I haven't read
Top
this.
half is current.
I haven't read this.
Do we wanna,
Well, let's just talk about it again next month, so we can study this a little bit more. Then he brings up a good point that I never thought about it in other committees, so
okay.
let's just, I think it merits a good conversation about it again.
Well, you all think of some more ideas and I'm happy to hear them. Next are the reports. Have the mayor's report on page 43. We planned and had the bike ride. There were about 5 riders, I think, and then a few supporters. We all had ice cream. It was a good time. Eric, do you have status on the camera for the windmill?
We meet with him Wednesday.
Okay, this coming Wednesday. Okay. You may have seen both those boats at the marina are gone, so thank you, Adam and Public Works, for taking care of those. I invited Miss Illinois and Miss Teen Illinois to Dutch Days, but I haven't heard back from them. So I don't know what a few days means to them, but
Sure would be nice if we could get Representative Spain to come. He's been to Fulton before, and it'd be nice to have him here. Tony McComie always came when she was ours, but then she lived close by, so it was easy for her to be here, but she was in all of our parades.
I'll make note of that. I was working with the middle school about the stop sign in the middle of the road, because parents are dropping their kids off. I'm pulling back on that. Just let the cops do the work and the school figure it out.
I'll be addressing it at the Public Safety Committee meeting sometime in the next couple weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, Chad, I just had my first experience with that. I hear it from my constituents a lot because those schools are in my ward. So I hear about it a lot, but the other day I just happened to be on 12th at that time, and I had children running in front of my car and behind my car. I could not believe it. And
Believe it.
parents are parked on the opposite lane, so they're a part of this. It was just scary to me, so I'm really glad to see you bring that up, and let's look at something.
I got a couple different ideas, so.
Okay, that's just great. It was scary to me. I mean, I've heard them talk about it, but seeing it happen is another thing.
And I still don't have enough money to go to the mural, so. Next is Eric's report.
His report.
You, page 44.
Page 44. Anyone have any questions for Eric?
Well, is there a place on here, am I missing that about, we get to Alderman requests? I'll just bring it up now. I brought it
Yeah,
to,
it's later,
Under new
in the
business.
committees.
I'll just bring it up under administration report. I have one topic.
Warranty work doesn't cost us anything, right, Eric?
All right, next then is Public Works. If anyone has any questions for Logan.
On those curb stops, are there on our new sidewalks? Logan or old?
Just throughout town, ones that needed raised or lowered.
Okay.
So I saw the post, I believe, from Chad or somebody from the police department today that they were following behind Public Works, and Public Works was out on the far south side of 4th Street doing fill work today. That was today, I assume. I guess the picture was today.
Yep.
The question I had on that, and this goes to other fill jobs that we're doing, you know, post-winter, is I think at one point I asked Eric about this, and there was a roller that we have in possession of Public Works. Why aren't we utilizing the roller to compact those patch spots more?
They do for bigger patches, but
Okay,
small potholes.
okay. Do we have those two handle stompers for compacting for individuals?
I don't know if we have a tamper or not, but they typically back over
Yeah.
small rolls.
Yeah, I just, I've seen, you know, 4th Street, and thank goodness we'll be over this shortly. But, you know, yeah, I know you guys filled them in when we had that good spot, you know, earlier this spring. And then I noticed, you know, we have to refill them because, you know, typical spring weather, we get a ton of rain or late spring freeze. And, you know, just trying to make it a little bit more, let's just get to the next thing. And then I guess one other question is South 4th Street, that section of 4th Street out, is it as bad as it looks? I drove it the other day and I guess I didn't realize how bad it was until.
Out there.
That's a whole other topic for a different committee, but yeah, it looked as bad, so that was good to see that you guys are out there working on the patches today. Thank you.
All right, next is Chief's report here. Chief, I have a question on those trainings.
Yep.
DeKalb and Rockford, are they staying the night, or they drive back and
We'll
forth?
drive.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
just curious. And then, you know when, okay, his graduation date's the 23rd?
Yes.
Where is that?
At Sauk Valley Community College.
Okay. Are you going? Are we invited?
I know the police department always goes. I don't know if it's, I mean, I would guess it's probably open to public.
Terry
Find
went with
out.
his brother, got it. I remember that picture being in the paper. That was kind of
Got it.
special.
I don't know what I don't know, Terry would actually know before, I haven't been to a graduation there, so I don't know how their seating is.
Still a place, there's plenty of seats.
Yeah. What time is the graduation?
I believe it's at 4 o'clock, but I could get you the exact time.
I was just curious if, if we're invited, I might like to go. You're going?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question, Chad. I don't think it's in here, and if it is, I apologize. How many tows are you doing per month on average, do you think?
I'd have to look it up, I don't know. Some months are more than others.
Okay. So I can only see obviously what the revenue is through the Cassell. So I think in February, it was like 19 or 20. Do you think that's a typical month?
I'd have to go back and probably average them out.
Don't want to recreate the wheel. I'm just kind of curious if that was an anomaly month, you know, maybe related to snow. You know, you got the cars that aren't parked, or if that's just.
No, it's not from nothing parking, so, I expect our totals to actually go up here in the next couple months after Andrew gets out, so. More, cause
Why? Could you explain that?
more proactive. So there's more, right now there's more cars out, so there's more traffic, more guys are doing more stops, more guys are just out patrolling more.
And you're talking about tows from a police stop that resulted in an
Yes.
arrest
Yep.
on site,
Correct.
or any other.
Right. I know this, like already this month has been extreme. I think we've already had like 4 or 5 warrant arrests already this month.
Okay, so warrants, you're obviously arresting them.
Yes, and then the cars.
DUIs, I assume
Yep.
that you're seizing the vehicle or having it towed.
Yep, driving while license suspended, revoked, suspended registrations with no insurance.
Okay. So I can see the driving under influence, you know, on your report up here, so I just automatically assume that those are towed.
Those are mandatory tows, for sure.
Okay, cause
I don't.
the Illinois law doesn't allow a passenger to take it, okay, alright. So then, I guess where I was going with that question is like, are we towing a lot of vehicles for sitting, you know, 84 hours or nothing like that? Okay, so.
And if we did, we wouldn't be able to charge an administrative penalty for it.
Okay, so only for arrests, okay, thank you.
Can you put a reminder out for the, like, golf cart renewal
Oh,
registration?
okay.
Okay.
And when is it?
Was it May, right? They changed it to May.
I think we did change it to May, so it coincided with our budget year.
Right. One that I am gonna bring up is, as you see, we were able to, receive an award from, or a grant award from, the state of Illinois, from the Law Enforcement Training Standards Board, where we actually got a check for $11,409, to offset our Axon body cameras. Currently, we pay about $30,000 a year in all of our Axon bills. So this is, we can apply for this every year. So we're we've already started the paperwork to submit for the next fiscal. Try to help the city so we can offset our Axon.
So that will just come off that number, right?
Yeah, it's weird, I don't know, I mean, it's kind of a reimbursement, so we.
Sure, we have to pay it all out.
Yeah.
Comes.
But yeah.
And, okay.
But just, so we're obviously gonna apply for that again next year, so that was a really cool thing that DC was able to get done, and, he's already started working on the paperwork for next year's.
All right, next we have the committee reports, Park and Recreation meeting. Eric, did you get any of the prices for the Wi-Fi or floors or fire pit?
Not yet, no.
What about the Wi-Fi? What do you mean with that?
Shane would like to get some kind of Wi-Fi out at the Cattail building, within the building, so if somebody had a need for it out there.
Okay.
Cause the internet's already there, right?
There is no internet out there.
We had our meetings out there for a while.
And then, did you meet with the rec board, Eric?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How'd that go?
We have a better understanding of what they're looking for now, so.
Okay.
Which one's Pleasure Park?
The one up by the water tower.
Okay, by the, like, kind of kitty corner to the
Christian school.
new addition in the, okay.
So did you wanna add anything?
Chicago
or
Cubs
you
play
good
a
to go?
game there one day.
No, I just talked to Eric today, he's gonna get the prices together and hopefully put them on, so we can discuss with the council,
Okay,
okay?
thank you. And then, next is the finance committee meeting minutes. I highlighted the PR request, but we already talked about that.
It's been a lot of budget and public works negotiations.
Yeah.
We did meet with the treasurer in our last meeting too, chatted with her about the process as far as what she reconciles and how that works, but she's really just doing a lot of input and data entry. In the past, we'd asked her to come to the meetings and things like that, but she really doesn't have, I don't think the data that any of us are looking for, and honestly, we're not asking her questions when she comes. So we feel it's okay for her to not attend at this point, but if we need her to, we can have her come to a finance meeting, so.
All right, any, alderperson comments, new business?
I have two.
You have two, okay.
I've learned that there is an Airbnb across the street from me, the Bly House. The owners have now converted that into an Airbnb, so I came in and talked to Eric about it. And then I went on the internet and looked myself, and there's 3 of them in Fulton. And so I asked him, what's our next step here, because we can get tourism tax money off the Airbnbs, and you looked into anything there?
I'm still trying to get more information from other communities.
He thought we need to pass an ordinance in order to, but we should be taxing that hotel. I know people who live in Savannah that have quite a few Airbnbs, they all pay, even anybody who rents a cabin up there.
And what I'm trying to figure out is if Airbnb is actually charging that fee, or if that's something we have to have the ordinance in order to charge that fee. Cause I've read it both ways, so I'm just trying to get some clarification on if Airbnb is actually paying that, or if we have to have the ordinance first, so.
It's filled all the time. So this is a really strange phenomenon, because I know everybody who lives in my neighborhood, and all of a sudden I have strangers across the street. And it's different strangers, all the time here. I know somebody who's renting it for Dutch Days, coming up for the weekend from Texas and is staying there for the weekend. So yeah, it's in use all the time, but there's 2 other ones out also. So I just asked him to look into it and bring us some information. And the other one is, I have been going up and down Main Street looking for sponsorships for the Dutch Day race, and I have been bombarded with the word rubble. What's happening with the rubble? And I didn't have any answer. The rubble, all the, from the fire.
Department of Fire.
From the department, all that rubble that's lying there, and of course, we're nervous about it with Dutch Days. But lots of people are asking me questions.
About all I can tell you right now is, we're getting ready to send another letter certified. Rebecca got the title search back, so we're gonna be sending them a letter, hopefully by Wednesday, and that gives them a 15-day window. And then after that, we will be going to the courts to try and get this taken care of.
And so what's your idea? What do you think could happen? What's our best scenario that we should be?
Well, best case scenario would be he cleans it up on his own accord, but I think it's obvious at this point he's not willing to do that, so I'm hoping the courts can make him do that. So we're also gonna be working with Tim Zollinger on this, just in case we do end up in litigation for some reason, but we'll know more May 1st, I think is what the email said.
I have a question.
Oh.
Is it illegal to trap animals and
It
take
is.
them out?
It is, but they can come to the Public Safety Committee and request permission.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we addressed it.
Yeah, well, we got a big old fat coon down there and they wanna trap it.
Oh, and actually, when we have a public safety committee meeting, actually you can come to the public safety committee meeting and make a request. But there is an exemption.
permit in town.
Yeah, there is an exemption if you come to the public safety committee.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause
If I read
this
it
guy,
correctly, that's the way it sounds.
this guy's a big one. I just watched him. He got on his highlights, just raised up the garbage can and looked at him. He's a big boy.
We got a pretty good idea where it stands.
Yeah.
Which part of the sewer is he living in down by you guys? I said, which part of the sewer is he living in down by you guys?
He's not in the sewer.
No, he's not.
He's got a house.
He's got a house, yeah.
Well, at least we have some high-class raccoons in town.
He's a big boy.
I don't know if it's high class.
This is just a reminder that your statement of economic interests are due. If you have not turned this in, it's due by 1 May. If you do not get it turned in, they can fine you up to $100 per day. That's the individual, not the city. And then they can also remove you from your seat. So everyone please fill it out and get it to Tori and we'll get them turned in.
Or if you have already filled it out, please let Tori know so that way, your name can be marked off the list.
Yeah.
I think Tori, didn't you file some on our behalf and we turned them
Oh,
in?
yeah, I filed a lot of them already. They're just a handful.
I just gave mine to her,
Yep.
because it has to come back to her anyway.
Tori, did I turn mine in, right? I'm
Tori,
fine.
did I give you mine?
Shane, are you gonna go into?
Probably know who we're talking about.
There's a few.
You have a blank one?
Sure.
I'll be down tomorrow, I'll fill it out for you.
Okay.
I'm not gonna call anyone out by name.
That's all right, I called myself out.
Any other new business? All right, then at this time, I'll entertain a motion and a second to go into closed session to discuss personnel litigation or property. Motion, please.
So moved.
So, second.
Roll call, please, Tori.
Alderson King,
Yes.
Mask,
Yes.
Ratcliffe,
Yes.
Sewell, and Campbell, Wilkin, Armstrong,
Yes.
Berggraf.
Yes.
All right, at this time, we'll recess into closed session and we kindly ask the public to leave the meeting.